I always wanted to feel what it was like beyond the world I knew, beyond fear, in those ancient lands calling to me, that would change me forever. 2,650 miles, hundreds of wilderness challenges, one hiker. The journey of a lifetime. Out here, it starts and ends with a single step. My name is Nathan Brooks, and this is my dream. I'm setting out to hike the Pacific Crest Trail across America, from Mexico to Canada, in one connected footpath, in one calendar year, no matter what happens. My new life begins here. We're here, right at the border wall. It's very pretty, and I'm about to start it for real. Thanks so much. Keep in touch.
Please do.
All right, bye. Just look at all this, guys. After graduating college just 2 days before today, I was truly thrust into a new world. Though I was intimidated by the monumental task ahead of me, I immersed myself in this place that thrives under harsh conditions. Heat of the day, but there's still some pretty cacti around. After living in the plains my whole life, I couldn't get enough of these desert mountain giants. They reinforced this feeling that I was starting something epic and momentous, and I was continuously wonderstruck by everything. Compared to normal life, trail life was incredibly simple, with only 4 steps. Eating trash food, drinking all the water. I've literally never been more happy to get water. First water, 14 miles, longest carry yet. Sleeping deep from pure exhaustion, completely unplugged from the rapid lifestyle I escaped from. And of course, hiking. 13 to 14 miles a day with some of the best and craziest people I've ever met. Like me, most people on the PCT start alone, but we made friends through the fire like it was the first day of school. And in a way, it kind of was. Here are a few of the first people I met.
Hi, my name is Kyle and I'm from Florida.
Hi, I'm Miroslav and I'm from Czech Republic.
Hey, I'm Luke from Los Gatos, California.
Hi, my name is Flintstone. I'm from Pennsylvania.
Hey, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Paula, and we're from Portland.
Hi, I'm Jessica, and I'm from Portland.
Hi, I'm Sam. I'm from Burlington, Vermont.
I'm Sophia. I'm from Nomorado.
Even little Ewok was making the long journey. And so we pressed on. Admittedly, I was in a state of anxiety for the first several days. On top of my life changing in every way, a nagging Achilles tendon was destroying my confidence to be able to keep going even a week more. I was even too embarrassed to record myself talking about it. But after adopting some ankle exercises to get through each day, I found myself high into the San Jacinto Range. I was loving the ultimate freedom of this experience, living completely on my own terms. But when I choose to climb up this high, I shouldn't have been surprised when I found myself wheezing for air.
It's steep, baby.
Still, all the worry and the challenges melted away when we stopped and just laughed at them, taking in the Sky Island views around us. Each day was incredibly difficult, but incredibly rewarding. It was clear that this was not going to be an easy journey, but the little things like that made me know that all the pain, all the sacrifice, all the savings spent, and hardship behind me and ahead would be worth it.
Pack yourself a toothbrush, dear. Pack yourself a favorite blouse. Take a withdrawal slip, take all of your savings out, 'cause if we don't leave this town, we might never make it out.
Though I was still adjusting to the incredible strain hiking was putting on my body, the miles were adding up, and I was getting stronger.
We did it.
We did
Triple digits.
Triple digits.
200 miles, let's go.
Mile 300. Celebration coming up.
3, 2, 1.
Oh my God, that is cold.
Is it cold?
400. Let's go. The desert sun was becoming harsher by the day, and while we had some amazing water every now and then, it became necessary to siesta through the hottest daylight hours. Conserving water was vital, and heat exhaustion always a risk. So we've gotten to the point where it is pretty much impossible to hike between the hours of 11:30 and 4:30. Started at 4 today. It was so terrible, but we got through it. But that's how it goes out here.
This is how we keep cool when it's hot.
So how do you hike thousands of miles self-supported? We find water in the environment, but food gets eaten quick, gear breaks and needs replacement, equipment needs charging, and clothes need washing, especially in the dusty desert. The answer is hiking all the way down out of the mountains, or with a thumb and some luck, hitchhiking into the glorious place called town. It blew my mind how these selfless strangers who didn't have much were willing to pick up random sweaty and stinky hikers on the side of the road and often wouldn't take money from us. Towns were a great place to recover, but also completely stuff ourselves. I didn't bring a backpacking stove, so hot, fatty meals were absolute heaven. I was so hungry, there was a point where I would devour a 16-inch pizza in every town, and it was crushing when we couldn't.
I was looking forward to pizza. There's no pizza. Pizza shop was closed. They're discriminatory against us on foot.
The locals were incredibly generous and gave us plenty of free food.
Thank you. Dad? Oh my gosh.
Thank you so much.
Look at that.
And lifts around town in any vehicle we could fit in. I could finally get some gear replaced, resupply on food, take a much needed shower, and have time to hang with lots of other hikers.
170 miles.
Sometimes we are lucky enough to make town events. We are here at Mayor Max's birthday party and about to get some free food and maybe pet the dog and stuff. It's gonna be good.
Hey, Max. Come on, guys.
Of course, we had to get a photo with the goodest mayor there is. But as much as I enjoyed town, I always found myself itching to get back on trail. At this point, I was hitting 20 miles a day, starting to really adapt to this lifestyle. Things I at first found challenging became nearly second nature. I got faster and found a new group of highly motivated hikers who were crushing miles. And we saw such a variety of new sights every day, rising high into the transverse ranges. I was starting to actually believe that this guy from Flat, Texas, who injured himself in every athletic endeavor he ever took on, just might be able to hike every step across the country. The doubt was clearing away. I started to realize that though the future was a mystery, I could trust the day and trust the trail, and everything would work out at the end of each day. My best day yet was ascending Mount Baden-Powell, the first mountain I summited on the PCT. It was a huge confidence boost, a true milestone of what I was capable of. Figuratively and literally, I was above the clouds. So what's my progress looking like? It has been 25 days since my start in Campo at the southern terminus, and I traveled 400 miles. From the humble San Felipe Hills and Laguna Mountains, the scorching Scissors Crossing, the challenging San Jacinto, and half of the tall Transverse Ranges were all behind me. It was a great source of pride for me, and I began to feel prematurely unstoppable, because, as you might come to find out, some of my highest highs are followed by my lowest lows. Coming down Mount Baden-Powell, out of nowhere, my calf felt like it was going to snap off of my ankle. Wincing in pain, I limped my way with my group to a rundown ski lodge for the night. Honestly, I was inconsolable, and I had no idea what was going to happen. Thankfully, I was able to satellite text my friend Shane, who was working in LA, and he picked me up deep in the San Gabriel Mountains. He let me stay in his apartment to recover. We hit the beach to relax my mind, and since I was being hard on myself for getting off trail, he convinced me to think of it as a vacation from trail life, not an exile from the path I was following. And luckily, jamming made that easy. But most of the time in that apartment, desperately looking for a way to fix my leg, I asked myself the simple questions. Why am I here? Am I in over my head? As a kid, my family went on road trips, and national parks were our destinations. 5 years ago, I went on my first backpacking trip in northern New Mexico with the Scouts. It was only 70 miles over 12 days, but I fell in love with it. Fast forward to this year, I would graduate from Oklahoma State. I always felt like I should do something big before joining the workforce, but I didn't know what. When I heard about the PCT, it's as if all these previous life experiences lined up to prepare me for this. I was consumed by it. It was so ambitious of me that I thought, if I can do this, I can do anything. That held a lot of weight for me, so despite being this injured, I had to find a way to live up to that mantra. And with my late starting date, I had to get moving. Alright guys, Shane has dropped us off. New people to meet, getting back on the trail. Fingers crossed for things going well here. We're gonna be okay. A few days later, I was thankful to be back after developing an exercise that allowed me to start walking again. But I kept thinking about why. I came out here because I wanted to see if I had what it takes. Life is short, opportunities are limited, and if I let this one pass, there's no guaranteeing I would follow this dream at all. I wanted to beat the small odds of finishing to do, see, experience, and be extraordinary. We live in a massive world, and I would be remiss to not get out of my corner of it and see as much as I can. I didn't want to keep saying someday, but for now, I'm kind of starting over, and each step felt anxiety-ridden again. I was alone since everyone kept going, and going slower in recovery, I was ready for new friends and new experiences. But I can't say the desert wasn't getting to me, just a little. In the desert, the thing you need most is water, but it's like the thing least available. And same thing with shade. You really need shade when it's hot, but it's the least available when it's high noon. Y'all, I'm literally laying on the trail, as you can see, because there's no shade out here. There's not going to be shade until mile like 580, I heard, and we're at 425 right now, so got some adjusting to do for siestas. What are you going to do when the sun's out and it's hot? It's places like that that reminded me of where I was just a week ago. I was jamming again and hanging out in town. I had just decided to take on the McDonald's challenge, which involves only eating McDonald's between two towns. I packed in a bunch of double cheeseburgers and set out to Wrightwood. Number 5, done. Yep, I had 7 double cheeseburgers over 2 days and lived to tell the tale. That was a rattlesnake. He's coiling up right next to me. Yeah, I'm glad I lived after that too. As I hiked, I learned I could always count on the desert being a place of variety. This time, the landscape was getting less forgiving and more alien. But one thing that soon wasn't alien to us was the gift that we called trail magic. Trail magic is an act of generosity where the most beautiful people, who we lovingly call trail angels, come to the trail just to bring us hiker trash a bunch of food and drinks. When all you drink is warm desert water, and all you eat is ramen and mystery wraps and other snacks, being surprised by trail magic can make your whole week. It could be anything from soda and cake on a random desert road to In-N-Out dropped off under an interstate bridge in 110-degree heat. And when you're surrounded by other happy hikers, everything feels right in the world. It's from these hikers that I got my trail name, Status Report. I was named that because I kept track of mileage, water, our camping situation, elevation change, and siesta locations for my group. For the rest of the trail, I'd be Nathan no longer, and everyone else went by their trail names too, as is the thru-hiking tradition. So I told myself at the start of this, I would kind of check in with myself at a day, a week, and a month. And now we're at a little over a month, and I've learned a lot since then. I'm really glad I've made it this far. I mean, it would really stink, but if it had to end right now, I would feel really happy with the 480 miles I should have done. It's pretty surreal. And while it can be very taxing on the mind and the body, it's everything I hoped for. I limped into the strangest place in the PCT, Hiker Town, to recover before attempting the most inhospitable section on the whole trail. The infamous LA Aqueduct stretch across the Mojave Desert is so hot, it's only attempted overnight. My friends were leaving in the evening, but my complaining leg had me leave at midnight. The bright moon helped light the way as I traversed the desert floor on pipe and sand. After a long night, I was greeted by Joshua trees and wind turbines for the first time. But with less vegetation and thousands of turbines, I should have expected the unrelenting wind.
This is by far the windiest place I have been on trail. Easy to experience this wind.
So I'm back on trail from Tehachapi, and yesterday was my birthday and it was a good time hanging out with everybody on my 0 day. We only got less than 130 miles to Kennedy Meadows, which is so exciting. I'm gonna enjoy what's left of the desert section and we'll keep on going. The mileage stacked up and felt monumental after each marker. Just made this one, mile 662.5. But what was left to go was hard to enjoy. The land was vast and stark, and we were further from civilization than ever before. Water sources were pitiful and few, often 20 miles apart. The animals were ever eager to steal food, even ripping my pack to get some nuts. The powerful winds forced me to cowboy camp on the coldest nights. The tall mountains had dry forests, but the lowlands had little more than sand. Still, it was not hard to find the beauty in it, and every step was closer to the mythical paradise of the High Sierra. Behind us, the Mojave Desert. Ahead of us, the Sierra Nevada Range. After 700 miles, it was finally the home stretch to exit the desert. I'm out here, less than a mile and a half of the last climb of the desert, ready to see a beautiful sunset view of the Sierra. Let's do it. I had come a long way from the disaster at mile 400. I felt strong and had surmounted many obstacles across vastly different environments. The small town of Kennedy Meadows South is considered the gateway to the Sierra and the end of the dusty lifestyle we knew. One final night at the top of a burned mountain will be our last here. At 4 a.m., thunder shook us awake. We were in serious danger of being struck by lightning in this chaparral, and a small fire started just south of us. We needed to get down trail, fast. Currently rushing down the pass. Get away from the lightning. After 42 days without a drop of rain, this was definitely unexpected. But all 5 of us made it down unharmed. We survived. How do you feel?
A little wet.
A little wet, yeah? Soaked to the bone, we achieved our first major milestone, completing the desert. The storm cleared up, and we were able to dry our gear, prepare our bodies, looks like falling off the blade, and just be plain old hiker trash. With heavy packs, we were ready to enter the most beautiful wilderness we had ever seen. Start of the Sierra, baby! Woo! The landscape morphed rapidly around us. It was the morale boost we all needed after being tested in the summer desert. So cool to see the white granites, the beautiful pine trees. There's some giant white cliffs over here. This is definitely one of the best trail days I've had so far. Far above the easterly sands below, it was as if we had ascended into heaven itself. All right, we have made it to the top. Right over there is the High Sierra. You can see Whitney covered up by a cloud a little bit right there. Just sat here for a while looking at it. Just incredible. Now we gotta hike through it. That's gonna be the real challenge. We were at 11,000 feet, and that deep feeling of majesty and being out there in the wild was almost overwhelming. It's the kind of feeling that makes everything you were before fall away, where only you and this crazy experience remain. Gone were the days of finding water in nooks and crannies. Now this is a sight and a sound we haven't heard and seen for a long time. Fresh, clear, and cold snowmelt cascaded down from every peak. And it wasn't long before we hit our first alpine lake after days of anticipation. It was the perfect opportunity to wash our dirt-clogged clothes, and you know I needed a wash myself. Alright, that's enough for me. One thing you might not get to see as much is just how much social interaction there is on this trail. I'm not really alone. I'm traveling with a group of like 12 people. And I don't film that as much because I respect their privacy, and I also just want to kind of be in the moment for that and not have the camera be in the way. So it's definitely one of the most special parts about the trail that you might not expect. All right, guys, big moment here. Entering our first national parks of the PCT. Being in this special land brought one thought to the forefront of everyone's mind: a Mount Whitney sunrise summit. Being just off the official trail, we couldn't miss the opportunity to tower over the lower 48. So we went to bed early and embarked at midnight. Well, here it is, guys. Mount Whitney ascent. The air's getting thinner. I've never climbed this high ever, but we're gonna do it. We were climbing on the moon. The darkness enveloped us, the starry sky in full view. We wheezed and stumbled our way up. It was a fight to the top, but we were headed towards the front row seats of something truly remarkable. It was the greatest sunrise I had ever witnessed. I'm forever thankful that me and my trail friends did it together. I'm not too happy this morning. Even though we're doing Forester Pass, which is super cool, my left ankle is giving me crap again. So here I am hobbling up like the biggest pass on the PCT. The Sierran PCT is set up as a series of valleys and passes. The treacherous passes are usually traversed midday, and we're a major high.
Yeah!
Once over the pass, miles and miles of new scenery reveals itself, and a leisurely stroll down to the valley begins. The sheer scale of the surrounding mountains was unlike anything I had ever seen. Look at all this. Look at all this. Is this not insane? So I've got another little observation. Society, money, status, all this stuff, that's not real. It's not a real world. It's all just concepts. All this around us, this is real. This is what's gonna be here thousands and thousands and millions of years from now. This is the real world. By evening, we were usually in the valleys, which made for much warmer sleeping conditions. Yes, each campsite was idyllic, and we took our time out here, enjoying each other's company and watching the alpenglow burn away the evening. What a camp spot. But they were more of nature's home than ours, and the wild made sure to tell us. Big mosquitoes started showing up every evening. And I had been the victim of a couple chipmunk burglaries. But the marmots made up for their more annoying relatives. It was hard not to romanticize this life. It was painful, yes. Draining, yes. But undeniably gorgeous in its unmatched nature, its vagabond people, and the way exploring captures you in each moment. Are you seeing this right now? Do I need to get fully in?
Come on, swim.
have to get fully in. Of course you have to get fully in.
Alright. Okay, I'm about to jump in backward.
Yeah, do that.
Here we go.
Go!
Okay, it's cool. We're getting it.
Just as sure as water roars off granite cliffs, we are kicking pass and taking names. Just made it up Glen Pass. Cheers! Yeah. After a well-deserved celebration, making it 3,000 feet down to lunch goes without a hitch. Most of the time. Nothing felt better than making questionable food concoctions while warming up in the alpine sun. The alpine lakes had a kind of magic to them. They held more joy than oceans to me, and it absolutely made those Sierra afternoons. It filled my bottles, cleaned my feet, refreshed my mind, and my adrenaline.
Any last words? Sick.
On camera, it looks easy, but the reality was 5,000 to 6,000 feet of elevation change daily, and in only 17 to 18 miles. Us hikers have a saying though, the best view comes after the hardest climb. Just did Pinchot Pass, we're almost all the way down to the bottom for that. The next one we got is Mather Pass,
which is said to be kind of the harder one near the end. So 2 major passes in one day. Let's get it.
Out here, life has a different shine to it. You feel like a kid again, fully experiencing the moment. It felt like I was supposed to be doing this, and each day I felt more connected to this wild dirtbag lifestyle.
It's like hiking through a freaking garden that was made specifically for us. It smells really nice, there's flowers everywhere. You can hear the water rushing in the distance, there's beautiful waterfalls. Really just can't beat it. I'm gonna miss this later. Happy July 4th. We were out here in the middle of nowhere, but what better way to spend it than going up Muir Pass. Soaking the feet with a view. Yeah, Muir Pass, definitely the most difficult so far. Had to go through a couple snow areas, and it's like 4,000 feet up elevation.
Out of the entire PCT, these were some of my favorite miles. We ascended to a place that looked like another planet.
John Muir, Mr. Muir, American legend on July 4th.
Oh yeah. Cheers! Woo! Yeah.
Wow, the quickest bit I've ever drunk.
The Pacific Crest is the kind of place that makes you feel small in its majesty and at the mercy of its whims. It's incredibly humbling and has forever changed my perspective.
All right, we are down from Muir Pass, which was just beautiful. Favorite pass by far. And now we are down the valley on the way to Selden Pass, which we might not get to till tomorrow because it's a super long downhill, but that's kind of a good thing. My knees are hurting on those uphills from yesterday.
You give up control, knowing that despite all of our human advances, we were still in the grip of Mother Nature. So far, she has been incredibly kind to us, with clear skies, little snow, gorgeous greenery, 60-degree days, and tasty water.
That's strong!
For some people though, the Alpine is not for them. These people were airlifted out, suffering from altitude sickness and potential haze. Luckily, everyone I was hiking with was healthy and having the time of their lives. Here are a few of them.
Hi, my name is Vince from Northern Ontario, Canada.
Chipper from Canada.
Bill Capra from Japan.
Pink Panther from New South Wales, Australia.
I'm Red Riding Hood and I'm from Seattle.
So while things were going good for us, wildfire smoke blew in from the west. But I learned that there was beauty in everything, and it provided unique views just for us. This extremely red sun is the result of all that smog from Mariposa.
Yosemite marked a major change in our Sierra experience. The peaks were glacier carved, meadows were abundant, and everything was much wetter, which triggered mosquito geddon.
There are mosquitoes everywhere. If I stop moving for about 2 seconds, I'll get swarmed. This is a swamp. Guys, the Sierra has a swamp. This is the worst campsite for mosquitoes ever. There's like swamp all around and stagnant water and everything. It's just terrible. It was uncomfortable, but that's what I signed up for. Being continuously comfortable with the uncomfortable.
I mean, this was the most comfortable moment of my day.
So what you see behind me is Dorothy Lake, which is kind of the last little bit of Yosemite.
I was making some serious Sierra mileage, but a few days ago, I found old friends I had met in the desert, and today we made it to a very important milestone.
Mile 1000! Go for it. Yeah! Woo!
It was a massive confidence booster after how tough Yosemite was, and knowing we had hiked that far, we felt like we could conquer the world.
That 1,000 miles is also a continuous footpath from the Mexican border. Just very fortunate that I was able to be in a position to be able to do it, and wow. All right, so we hit 1,000 miles earlier. We're about 20 miles past that, but I've got another big monumental milestone I think I'm ready to talk about. It's that I have trail legs. I have trail legs now. It only took over 1,020 miles. Pretty much every part of my legs is hurt and been recovered. And I was just flying up hills today, feeling really strong. I feel like I can really just tackle everything else that is coming my way. It's been a long time coming. Some people get them a lot earlier, but nah, not me. I was having issues kind of this whole way, and I probably will have some in the future, but I think they've weathered enough storm to call them trail legs, so that feels really good.
Once you've hiked 1,000 miles, you're well into a phenomenon called hiker hunger. To sustain 25-mile days and lots of climbing, we have to eat a ton. I started going through food quicker than I expected, but people were always willing to let go of extra food weight.
Thanks so much for the food, guys. Congrats on finishing the JMC.
Because if I didn't eat, I would crash.
I just got done doing this hill, but I was getting pummeled. Absolutely destroyed going up it. I had to take a break. I had to take a little nap. Like, I just kind of gave up. But it was just not having food, so I ate 3 energy bars, and my energy was back.
And when trail magic returned, soda was the nectar of the gods. Sugar was king. And so were the trail angels who made burgers, pizza, and salad for us. And trail angels love giving us any kind of beer at trailheads.
Hitting the trail again. Another beer before we start. Let's go. All right, making my way down to the trailhead where I can hopefully get a ride.
And the towns, they were incredible, but so far away because of hardly any intersecting roads through the Sierra. I mean, this was attempting to hitch for a half-hour ride to the town of Bishop. The food was heavenly, and the recovery from the crazy elevation change sorely needed. And that included going out on the town.
Welcome, what are you doing?
And breaks from the norm.
All right, Socks, what keeps happening to your bike?
My chain is broken.
Great bikes we have here.
Yeah.
I am currently in all rain gear because I had to wash all my clothes. So we are walking through Mammoth Lakes right now. Got to get some new trekking poles. The ones behind me are kind of destroyed and the tips are like completely gone. So 5 Star has informed me about this coffee house where I can stay in their backyard for free. Got a hitch from a Tesla, had some awesome people in it, and they gave me a ride into town, and also some free Mexican food from a great place. Went to the market, got some food with the T-Bell, got some charging and some more food. Then I was going to the campground right here to have a free place to stay, which was gonna be great. But then Sam and Sophia hit me up and asked if I wanted to stay with their place with their parents tonight, to which I said yes. Look at these kind people picking me up Yeah. And waiting for that, I saw my first bear on trail, which was super cool. And had to scare it off a few times. But you know, here we are waiting to get picked up.
It felt luxurious to be here, and great to hang with friends I hadn't seen in some time. But a newly heavy pack and a shifting landscape were calling me back.
This bag is massive, very heavy. Same with Q over here. Big bag. We got it. I can tell you guys what it's like to kind of return to civilization. Whenever you get in a car after not being in a car for like a week and a half or whatever, it is the most jarring feeling ever. Like just the fact that you're being moved without your own propulsion is so bizarre. And then just seeing everything like inside buildings and stuff at 90-degree angles, like very clear cut, very nice, not just kind of scattered about like the forest, and just seeing so many people. I don't think we're meant to see as many people as you see on a daily basis. One thing I didn't like is the fact that I couldn't go number 1 or number 2 anywhere like I do. And yeah, it's just the most jarring feeling. But the thing about it is you adjust like really quickly. There's a very big separation between our civilization and the wild nature that I'm now in, you know?
The landscape had changed dramatically since Yosemite, being drier with more volcanic formations and wildflower blooms. It was symbolic of how close we were getting to the end of the Sierra. This section has taught me that no obstacle is too large, and I'm physically capable of more than I ever knew. I started to understand what it meant to live in the now, to share intense moments with others, and feel the weight of the struggles and triumphs as they came, not always looking toward the horizon. It taught me how full life could be. These are lessons I would need to carry on to the most mentally challenging section of the whole trail next.
If you take a look behind me, we are at Carson Pass, the last pass of the Sierra. Did them all. The land became lush, and Lake Tahoe was in sight. We connected with the Tahoe Rim Trail, signaling the very end of the Sierra section. It's hard to believe how much was jam-packed into this section. 400 miles flew by going through this massive oasis, going completely through 3 national parks and several wilderness areas back to back. Being isolated for that long and in such paradise has changed the way I think about the world and my place in it. The landscapes and climates were changing quickly, and at nearly 1,100 miles, only one section remained of California, one that would truly test my will and my limits. All right, got some big news. So it is halfway through day 72 on the trail, which means there's 72 and a half days left to get to Canada. I'm at mile 1,118 and I have like, I don't know, that's 1,550-ish, something like that left. So we're halfway through the time, not quite halfway through the miles, so.
It was true that I needed to hurry up, and my late start in mid-May reinforced this fact. Luckily, I was fast.
Today was my first trail marathon, 26.2 on the dot.
I wanted to beat winter to the end and wildfires before they broke out. But my trail friends did not follow suit. They had their reasons. Some were injured, some wanted to slow down and take more time in towns, some wanted to skip ahead to Oregon, and some were just plain done with thru-hiking. So I became a drifter, getting to know people for a day or two, then moving on past them. I needed to find peace in being alone for a while, which was not easy. Regardless, NorCal offered alone time in great abundance. The number of hikers went down significantly, and it wasn't uncommon to not see a soul for more than 24 hours. But life was abound here, and nature became my companion. She revealed to me a never-ending show, a constant dance of her inner workings. I started to feel at home under boughs of pine needles and in between fields of wildflowers. It was a more down-to-earth beauty than the Sierra than I came to appreciate, even when it was hard. It was hidden awe, a secret kept from civilization, only to be found by those willing to lose themselves in it. Yes, true adventure is still out here, and I was chasing it from behind every tree trunk
and around every bend. Even when that meant signs of devastation, much of the forest was a tinderbox, ready to burn. Massive fires have ripped through hundreds of miles of this section of the PCT in the last decade, and sometimes left not a sign of life for hours of hiking at a time. Some nights I had no choice but to camp under fragile widowmakers. It was stark and sad, but there were signs of rebirth and renewal if I looked close enough. I was learning to find beauty in everything. I got my last big break before pushing huge miles when my family came to visit. They picked me up and brought me back to Tahoe. Well, I just had an awesome weekend with my family, and we were down at Tahoe City, and we're able to go on a sunset boat ride and
It feels great.
do some kayaking, do some jumping off some boulders in the water, and spent some great time with them, had some good food, and it was seriously awesome. Then I took them on a 2.5 mile bit of the trail up to Castle Pass. Everybody say hi. The next time I see them, I will have finished, so yeah, I'm really glad they came. After that, it got really hard. Now at lower elevation, the heat was once again punishing and humidity crushing. Look at this. Look how much salt there is. You don't even want to see the back. The climbs were tougher than anything I remember doing before. The intermittent burns removed all shade and wore on my soul. I had to start the days very early and end them into the darkness. Face gnats were rampant. Monotony replaced wonder as the default. There wasn't a whole lot to look forward to besides mile markers, but there were some bright spots. Check me out. You notice anything different? That's right, I got a new shirt, one that doesn't have holes. Got new underwear that also doesn't have holes. It feels so good. You know, I'm almost there, but I needed this. The Cascades. Didn't think it was coming so soon, but wow, we're here. We are less than a mile to the halfway point on the PCT, and I'm so stoked. And once I step past that, I'll be mostly done with the PCT. Canada, 1325. Mexico, 1325. Getting to Bernie Falls was a godsend after a few very tough days. You know, they talk about that thing, NorCal Blues. I get it, but every so often I'll look out here and I just think, wow, Nathan a few months ago would kill to have even that, even if it's not that spectacular. It's kind of the same old, you know? I look out there and I say like, wow, this is wilderness, this is nature, this is what you wanted. This is what I still want. I just need to remind myself of it. It was true. There were tough days, even bad days, but there was never a day that I didn't want to be here. The highs, the lows, they all make up this thing we call adventure. If it all went well, that's just a vacation. Guys, not even 2 minutes ago, I nearly walked straight into a black bear. Because like, I swear, when he darted out of the bushes, I was no more than 5 feet behind him. That is the closest dangerous wildlife encounter I've ever had. Type 2 fun was an essential part of the thru-hiking experience. My mental health would hold strong. Part of keeping it strong was my routine, which was completely automatic and streamlined by now. I slept deep from pure exhaustion each night in a down quilt on a thin sleeping pad with my rain gear as a pillow. My tent was just large enough for me, held up by my trekking poles. Breaking down camp took no more than 10 minutes in the morning. No matter how hot it was going to get that day, it was always cold at daybreak, and doing this helped me warm up to hike. Once everything was in its right place in my bag, I'd eat a big breakfast, then hike until I got hungry, then eat until I was completely full 5 to 6 times a day.
I listened to every kind of music that enhanced the scenes around me. I'd fill up on exactly the amount of water I needed at each spring or stream. When night fell, I set up camp in around 15 minutes in little light, then do it all over again. A lot had changed since the start, but it was still a beautifully simple life. My simple life was about to get a lot more complicated. News traveled fast on the trail and word was spreading about an overnight disaster. A raging fire exploded in far NorCal, closing the final 120 miles of trail into Oregon. Smoke started pouring in from the north, and the disaster we had hoped to avoid was upon us.
The fire closure is at 1600 to 1710, which means that I'm gonna have to get a ride into Oregon. So I'm gonna have to skip miles for the very first time, which really stinks, but that's what we have to do. I kind of came into this trail knowing that that might happen.
I decided to hitch into town to decide whether to skip ahead now or right up against the closure.
All right, we are here in Dunsmuir, and I just got resupplied. I did like kind of a sink laundry thing, but without soap, so I still kind of smell bad. And I've got socks hanging from my bag. Catch the bus, get right back out to the trail, do the next 100 miles. Heard it's beautiful, not a lot of smoke. I think we're gonna be okay. I can't believe my tent didn't rip apart last night, but I think the view in the morning was worth it. Today has been a great day. Seeing alpine lakes and riding these ridges and seeing so far away and just kind of getting out of that monotony has just been amazing. So glad I was convinced to do it.
In a bittersweet moment, I promised I would be back here later to make up the missed miles. I was done with California for now. This section was about learning to be alone and pushing past mental fatigue to push further and keep being in this place. The wilderness could be my companion, and I learned to enjoy the act of hiking more than it just being a tool to reach new destinations. And though I had to break my footpath and move past a massive fire, I knew I still had it in me to keep going, no matter what catastrophe happens next. Oregon would hold new friendships, dangerous challenges, and the ways of the Pacific Northwest. Hikers were scattered. Some skipped over to the Oregon Coast Trail, others went southbound in Washington, but I took a ride just past the California-Oregon border to my next chapter.
All right, we got dropped off at Callahan's Lodge. Now we're leaving to start the first miles of Oregon. If anything, this trip is a really good demonstration of the power of incremental progress. I remember looking at my GPS when I was only a couple days into the trip, and I was so disheartened, like, oh, you know, I have so far to go. I'm right close to the border. Now look at me, I'm in Oregon. I'm really far from the Mexican border now, and that's 96 days later.
And in that progress, I'll never forget seeing the landscape morph around me before my very eyes. I spent time here thinking back through the 1,600 miles behind me, the memories of each peak and valley insanely vivid in my memory. Though the forests of southern Oregon seemed never ending, I understood deeper that trail life at the speed of a human is essentially walking through a living work of art, a masterpiece in constant flux. The sunsets were ever-changing, high-production shows. The burns were somehow more beautiful than I thought they could be. The first berries I saw were great snacks, and the Oregon Cascades gave sweeping views of the endless lush pines and volcanoes that this place is known for. These giants soon peaked over the horizon, and lava fields dotted my path. These were the rewards of intentional homelessness. Or maybe my home was out here.
Today is my 100th day on trail, 100 days since starting in Campo. What better way to spend it than going into Crater Lake? 1800. Okay, so a little explanation of today. We're gonna get to the northern boundary of Crater Lake National Park, and at that point the trail is closed, but we gotta either get in the car and go around it or walk around it, and I'm gonna attempt to walk around it. I don't wanna come back and do this later. So we're gonna go east on this forest road that follows the main road pretty closely, and then go north and northeast and follow a railroad all the way to Shelter Cove. And so that's gonna be about 60 miles. There should be some water along the way, but it's not marked. This is kind of the next iteration of backpacking. So it's gonna be an adventure. I think we're gonna be fine. And if I gotta bail out, there's a highway that's somewhat close always. So while it is unfortunate that there are closures, I think ultimately it's gonna make the trip my own. It's gonna make it more interesting. So I'm gonna keep that in mind if it gets annoying. I navigated well enough and found water every 20 miles, but the river crossings were never easy. Well, that went terribly. If I don't have like chiggers or poison oak on my legs, I don't know what. This is the breakfast of champions right here. After rerouting around the fire, we are back, baby. We are back. With smoke passing overhead and an unmarked reroute accomplished, I realized that no obstacle is worth stressing about. In the desert, I suffered more in my imagination than in reality. At worst, I would suffer twice. I was anxious, and injuries, food, water, and mileage seemed like massive problems. I now know that things tend to work themselves out. The best laid plans usually get thrown out soon after they're made, so dealing with problems in the present was the winning strategy. So I get this thing called prickly heat, which is where salt from your sweat plugs up your sweat glands. Feels like there's hundreds of knives stabbing at your back whenever it gets triggered. And that's exactly how I feel right now. I was in Central Oregon, and I hit the back of the hiker bubble and started to meet some of my favorite people on the trail. Here are a few of the hikers I would finish out the state with.
Hey, I'm Karma. I'm from Augustine, Florida.
Hey, I'm Chief Hines from England.
I'm Big Red, and I'm from Mount Shasta, California.
Hi, I'm Kelly. I'm from Portland.
I'm Salt. I'm from Chattanooga.
Hi, I'm Chit Chat from Chattanooga, Tennessee.
Hey there, my name is Blender and I'm from LA.
We hit the golden miles of the Cascade Volcanic Arc, and there would be 5 volcanoes before we crossed into Washington. The first of them would be the Three Sisters, 3 volcanoes right next to each other. I feel like today is the first day I've entered the Pacific Northwest that everybody talks about. These towering volcanoes and lushness and flowers, and just there's a certain vibe to it. They brought a huge lava field that I would need to traverse. This is so hard. I mean, it just got cloudy, but it was really sunny. Sweating.
While beautiful and unexpected, the volcanic rock shredded my ankles as I walked on them for over 5 miles straight. But getting through it was a testament to how unshakable my legs were and my resolve.
It was so light. It was 30 miles, but it was through all the sisters and all the volcanic fields. It was a lot. It's like 10:40 and I gotta get up at like 4:20. So.
All right, mile 2,000.
Featuring not 1, not 2,
but 3.
different 2000s.
And a 4th one.
Just in case you weren't sure.
So I'm hiking through something pretty unique right now. The Lion's Head closure, which took up most of Mount Jefferson area, opened less than a week ago. And luckily we landed on it to where we're able to walk through it. And of course it's pretty dang burned, but no one's gone through here in about 2 years. So it's really cool that we're able to get these miles in and that the timing worked out. So I feel pretty grateful.
As grateful as I was, torrential, silty glacial melt became a dangerous complication.
Okay, I just had my most traumatic trail experience. So I'm at this Russell Creek, I think. So I was trying to find a spot up the stream to cross. I was trying to keep my feet dry. And I finally got to a spot where I could cross. I went way too far up the stream. And I finally crossed, but I bent my pole and I almost broke my leg. So that probably wasn't worth it. But then I didn't realize how loose the rocks were on the other side. And that's where I messed up. All the sediment and rocks started falling and I started falling with it. And both my water bottles fell out and they tumbled down to the river. And I just kept going with this landslide. I ripped open my pants. I scraped up my finger and I can't believe that's all I got away with. That was so dumb. And then I just went back to the trail and crossed where the trail crossed the stream. It is what it is. It really wasn't that strong. That's like a whole hour down the drain.
I learned well that day that it's better to just ford a river than risk life and limb rock hopping. But Mount Hood was in sight, and the end of Oregon now within reach. There was a big space between us though, and nature wasn't making it any quicker. Condensation happened daily, and daily I had to do a yard sale and wait for it to dry.
Look how soaked my tent is. A cloud must have passed by the campsite last night because, oh my God, this is the worst it's ever been.
But embracing the suck is just how I lived. It was necessary to experience the uncommon. The forest bounced between dense, lush beauty with new plants each mile as I pressed on north. To utter devastation at a moment's notice. I realized the live forest I'm seeing today might not even exist tomorrow in the reality of today's world. It was eye-opening.
I just deliberately stretched for the first time in 2.5 months or so, and I feel so good. Why didn't I do this earlier? About to be at the base of Mount Hood, which once I get to the Timberline, get to go to the Timberline Lodge and stuff myself with the amazing breakfast they have there. But I've got to climb essentially a huge ashtray to get up there.
I had received a lot of free food and drink recently, but the small price of this one trumped them all.
The lodge is absolutely worth it. I'm completely stuffed, and maybe I won't have to eat till dinner.
But towns and resupplies felt strange now. Once a place meant to relax and recover from trials on trail, I now felt more comfortable, more safe, more at home in the wild spaces. Everything means more out here. In our world of convenience and distraction, I now take little for granted. The dying light of a brilliant sunset, the cooling feeling of the wind whipping through the forest, finding pure water after being so thirsty, eating the food I've carried so far. Simple human connection in our shared experience. Conquering that huge climb, and finding a place to sleep for the night filled with exhaustion. Those small moments. It's all so real, so visceral, so frustratingly impossible to describe to outsiders. Who knew something so basic can make us feel so alive?
Today is an exciting day. Today we are going to get to Tunnel Falls.
It was a sign of how close we were to the lush, dramatic, and imposing Washington, teeming with life and dreams of even more. I felt truly unstoppable and wondered why I ever worried at all. I was about to walk into the third and final state.
Then we're getting to Bridge of the Gods, which means it's our last hiking day in Oregon. I did it in 19 days. We made it to Washington!
Oregon was incredible. The smaller mountains made it easy to push 30 to 35 mile days on this stretch. I felt good setting a blazing pace here, but the Cascades were ramping up. The days were getting much colder and shorter, and time was running out. Washington would be the truest test of everything I had been preparing for, and it would reward me in ways I could never have imagined. With a month left until the first snows in northern Washington, I had my work cut out for me. I was ready. Washington was living up to its reputation. It was wet and cold, shrouded in mystery. Autumn was in full swing, and the weather with it. The trees were massive, and would rain dew on us for hours as we traversed larger hills.
We are a little over 500 miles from finishing this whole thing, but everything is breaking. My trekking pole is bent, there's rips in my pants, the zipper on my tent doesn't work anymore. My shoes have worn out way too fast. My good pair of socks has like 7 holes in them. Of course, there's a hole in the mesh of my backpack. All of my stuff sacks have some sort of hole or problem with them. So yeah, basically half of everything is broken, and I hope I can just pull through with what I have, because I'm not replacing any of that.
But what all am I still carrying? My gear was super lightweight at this point, and I only have the essentials. I wore trail runners, toe sock liners, wool socks, merino wool underwear, hiking pants, a sun hoodie, a fleece I picked up for the cold, a down jacket, rain gear, a hat, shoe gaiters, and a bug head net. I slept in a tent that was held up by trekking poles on a ground sheet where I laid on a ground pad inside a down quilt and a pack to hold everything. I charged my devices with a battery, which included my phone, my emergency GPS, and my headlamp. I had earbuds for listening to music. I had heel lifts, arch support, and a massage ball for my foot health, a plastic spoon, and a cold soak container for meals, a multi-tool, and sunglasses. I had my glasses and contacts to choose from, a water filter for drinking, and aqua tabs for emergency, plastic bottles to drink from, ibuprofen and antidiarrheals for injury or sickness, Leukotape for blisters and hot spots, a trowel for cat holes, and toilet paper for after, toothpaste and a toothbrush, and trash bags and plastic bags for sorting and waterproofing.
Just got some news. The last 15 miles of the trail to the terminus is closed because there was a lot of lightning there and there's some fires really close to the trail. It's just so unfortunate because it's right there. But there are roads that lead to the border. We're gonna find a way.
That news was devastating to many people, but I noticed I wasn't too torn up about it. It was amazing where I was today, and tomorrow would be fine too. It wasn't worth ruining that for a far-off problem. I was too determined to keep going. And so were these great hikers that I would press on to Canada with.
Hi, I'm Stumbles. I'm from Toronto, Canada.
Hi, I'm Pine Nut. I'm from Lithuania.
I'm Long Story from Pennsylvania.
Hi, I'm Shepard from the southwest of Germany.
Hi, I'm Patches from Landau, Germany.
Hello, I'm Timo from Vienna, Austria.
After days of tough wooded climbs, we were headed to greener pastures.
I am in what is considered to be the best section of the BCT, the Goat Rocks Wilderness. So I'm super stoked about today. Even though I've gone 20 miles, the second wind is the views pushing me. This place is absolutely incredible.
You may have taken a cold shower, but have you taken a glacial shower? Okay, that was really cold. Woo!
On this stretch, a quote from a movie repeated in my head. To see the world, things dangerous to come to see behind walls, draw closer, to find each other, and to feel. That is the purpose of life. In every way, thru-hiking is the quintessence of this ideal. I don't know if I truly understood what it meant until I had experienced all of it. The countless places I've been, the bad days that would turn into good stories, discovering the unknown around every corner, witnessing that explosion of life that happens at every scale, the passerbys and the lifelong friends, and entirely feeling every feeling. This is life. It's not chasing highs or avoiding lows, achieving greatness or any big thing. It's everything. Every day, all the time, in every moment, being in it. That's what matters.
I'm at the point where my mileage every day is restricted by the sunlight hours, which are getting less and less every day, and the amount of food I'm eating, which is increasing more and more every day. I have to sit down and take like 2.5 hours to eat every day, just like shoving food down my throat. I'm eating 6,000 plus calories a day, and it's just a lot to fit in. And if I could do it any faster, I could get more miles in, but I just feel like I'm busy all day and I'm still only getting like, 25 to 27. It's not my body restricting me anymore, it's everything else. It's been an interesting transition. 2,300.
All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Woo! I am pleased to announce that today is 4 full months on trail. And we only got 1 more month. We're gonna make it count. We're gonna live this life.
At Snoqualmie Pass right now, about to get a giant pizza from this grocery store.
Cheers!
There wasn't much civilization on the Washington Crest, but in the places that did had celebratory alcohol, relaxation, and Bavarian-themed buildings for some reason. I got to stay in kind Trail Angels homes and a general store yard.
Camera shy? Is that right? Many fires have sprouted up recently. The fires at the Canadian border are still burning. Probably will be for a while. But now there's some new ones around the next pass we're gonna
hit in like 70 miles. So we gotta go quick to get through it before they decide to close it. It's a little smoky, but still enjoying the views. And we're getting to Canada no matter what. Welcome to the Central Cascades, one of the most extreme landscapes in America. The next nearly 200 miles would push me to my limit. Under the threat of fire, layers of smoke, dense fog and rain, environmental challenges, and approaching winter, this is what 4 months of thru hiking have prepared me for. The longer I've gone on, like this fire to finish and be in this place still after this long just grows hotter. I never thought it would be like that. I thought in the beginning like I would really be struggling for willpower to finish this thing. No, every day I want to push harder. It has been raining all day today, and this is one of the few times it's let out. Just had the first freezing night for a long time since the Sierra. It really shows that winter's coming, but we're in the Glacier Peak Wilderness. Glacier Peak is just up there. It's beautiful. My feet are frozen. I slept really cold, but hey, I'm still here. But it's just a reminder that you gotta get going. It's been a few days and everything is wet, and we're spreading it all out. This has got to be the most incredible lake I've seen in Washington. Wish I could just stay here. Through hundreds of blown down trees, dozens of glacial torrents, and some of the most exhausting days of my life, I had made it to the final national park, and past that, Canada was a mere 60 miles away. Very happy to announce that we made it through the hardest section of the PCT. We're at Rainy Pass and going into the last town northbound. Here's the plan. The border fires are still raging. I'm getting a hitch to Mazama and staying there for the night. Then I would return to Rainy Pass and hike a quick 30 miles to the closure at Harts Pass, hike back to my resupply town and stay there again, then take the new alternate route to the border to cover every step. It adds many miles to my journey, but I'm going to complete what I set out here to do. Just got over Rainy Pass. We are refreshed and refueled from Mazama. With bright, sunny days ahead and fall colors on full display, it was the boost I needed for the added mileage required to reach the border. Just coming down this mountain here, and I see the very last 100-mile marker. That is an insane number. Starting to get emotional about all this, you know? This is the final day, going northbound on the official PCT. I don't know, it hasn't become real yet, but things are starting to end. Gonna do 30 to 33 miles today. Though it was disappointing to have to redirect at this closure, I was excited to travel a path not many will ever take. This right here is as far as I'm going on the official PCT. Right here, taking a good look, this is what we got. with that, the road walk to Mazama begins. 18, 19 miles away. Get there at the end of the day. And now we're going to one of the most remote areas in the country. Almost finished the road walk to the trailhead. This is a very steep hill, 15%. You can see that's the Pacific Crest over there, pretty smoky. Alright guys, final day. You can see Canada in the distance. Only a few more miles to go. It's a beautiful day. We got the flags, we got the crown. We're gonna do it. We made it to Canada! Oh, oh my God. There are few things in this world like seeing a dream become reality. Despite everything, I was here. It felt monumental. I was so in love with life allowing me to do something like this. All the memories of the trail flooded my mind on the way back. We reminisced, we celebrated, and now it was time for the last leg of my journey. My days of being a vagabond were slowly drawing to a close. I almost couldn't believe it. Being out here for so long and experiencing so much, it felt like life couldn't be any different. But we hitched to Seattle, and I rented a car to drive down through the Oregon coast. It was some well-deserved time off, and as I saw hundreds of miles of Oregon seashore, I took a breather. I settled my mind and envisioned the final leg before me. There are 2 sections that are now open that I haven't done in Oregon and California. Though I previously walked around the Oregon fire, I said screw it, I have the time. I want to see what I missed. Finally made it to the spot. We're gonna go southbound for the first time. It took 2 hours to get a hitch, but it was from an amazing woman who taught me a lot, and we might have a challenge we might start right about now. I loaded up my pack with 17 extra pounds and decided to drink 24 beers over 24 hours while hiking at least 24 miles. My body was a tank. I knew I could handle it. All right, let's get to it. This is getting extremely difficult. 24. Done. I was in pure machine mode. It is a crazy feeling to know I could hike visible distances on a US map in only a couple days, no matter the environment. As the days get shorter, night hiking becomes a necessity, starting before you can see the ground, ending after you can see the ground, and a lot of using my headlamp. And I did it. Had a nice trail angel in Chiloquin take me in for the night and also drove me from the first section of the makeup miles where I finished. Okay, all the buses actually worked, so we got to Medford. Just getting out of Callahan's for the second time. This is the last leg of my trip. I don't know if I ever thought I would get the chance to say that, but here we are. It's just me, and I'm just gonna take in every last little bit I possibly can. Get to Etna Summit, and I've completed my walk from Mexico to Canada on the Pacific Crest Trail. It was a beautiful section to finish on. The amount of vastness in these miles is absolutely crazy. I was not expecting this. Made it to the Oregon-California border. I was glad to be back in the Golden State, but my body seemed to know it was almost done too. My energy nearly evaporated, despite needing to make 100 more miles in 3 days. Just need to finish, just need to hold out a little bit longer. I just need everything I've got. I'm so tired. I still have 11 miles today. And then began a series of lasts. The last burn. The last mountain spring. The last trailside nap. The last town. The last big climb. The last dying light shed on raw adventure. It's the final day today. It is day 152. I can barely comprehend it. I don't think I've anticipated anything more in my entire life. I feel like a kid on Christmas morning. Oh man, I'm nervous now. Am I ready for this to be over? This is the final mile of my thru hike. I'm so thankful for everybody who's helped me along the way. I wouldn't be here without them. I'm so incredibly lucky that I can be here right now. In the beginning, I gave myself a really low chance of actually doing this. 20%, I thought I wouldn't really get past the desert. I don't even know what to say anymore. I'm so overwhelmed right now. It's like the credits are about to start and the lights come on, and then you're gonna leave the theater and just go back to real life, I guess. It's all felt like this wonderful dream. It's all coming to an end. I've never felt so proud of anything in my entire life. You gotta follow your dream no matter what happens, because there's not a feeling like it in the world. That's it. That's it.
You're done?
I just hiked across America. Oh my God.
Welcome back.
152 days.
That's who's counting.
Like shaking.
You need to sleep for like a week, I imagine.
Oh my God. Man, the weight of all that is just like sinking in right now.
Yeah, finishing?
Yeah. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, you're welcome.
2 months ago, I stepped like right there. I was like, that's the spot that I'm gonna end at whenever I come back. And then that this is the last possible day for me going back to work. Like, that might have been the hardest thing I've ever done.
I would imagine so. A lot of people couldn't do it.
Thank you so much. Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you. In the last mile, I stopped and looked around. Fully there, watching the sun poke through the bundles of conifers and feeling the unwavering stillness. I had thought about it a few times, but it was then I truly understood that this journey was not only about taking every single step. It was also about taking in every single step, fully realizing every moment, forgetting about the past and future and accepting what was being given to me right then. With each stride I made, the weight of anxieties, regrets, and insatiable ruminations slowly fell off my back. My better relationship with the world, others, and myself took their places. It was the purest distillation of what it means to be alive, to fall in love with everything, both mundane and magical.
From the start and throughout my journey, I told myself if I could do this, I could do anything. So what's next? Well, I think I've just scratched the surface of what's possible.